Hi guys, and welcome to my review of Saturday night's main event. Saturday night's main event, which I had kind of initially missed by an entire hour. I was in the process of watching it. Welcome to Derry. When I just happened to check my phone, I had noticed there's a post from Santi's app, who is a well-known YouTuber for doing WWE content. They had they were watch along of Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. I was like, wait a minute, what? And I realised that Saturday night's main event was like an hour deep already, and I had totally missed it because there had been a memo sent out, and I had totally missed that this was going to start earlier. So I had to kind of like rewind and rejoin it because I didn't want to just kind of join it live and then kind of watch it sort of out of order. But yeah, anyway, on with the show. So this match started with the undisputed championship between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, which I kind of think was the right call, because just basically working on that idea where the Drew McIntyre Cody Rhodes match along with the CM Punk Jey Uso match were the two biggest ones, so it kind of works on that staple that your opening match and your closing match should be your two biggest ones. So this totally so the way that this was structured, this event was structured, I think was totally the right call. So we had we had this big match between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre for the Undisputed Championship. And, from in-ring perspective, I thought it was a really solid match. I thought there was some weird kind of stuff in from a choreography point of view, at least from the referee, because there was this match ended up with obviously the referee getting flattened, getting taken out. Obviously, this is usually a situation that favours a heel, but it was this happened to favour Cody Rhodes, because there was a stipulation where if Cody Rhodes got counted out or he got disqualified, then there would be no champion's advantage. And this had kind of come to, this was facilitated well earlier in the match. In particular, there was a spot where Cody Rhodes got put through a table and the referee started counting out, and Cody Rhodes had just made it back in with the final second. So from that kind of narrative point of view, it was really strong. I do kind of, but yeah, going back to what I was saying about the choreography with the referee, but the referee getting flattened for this finish was kind of preceded with numerous moments of him just constantly getting in the way, or nearly getting in the way in the same corner. It almost seemed to be like there had been this sort of communication breakdown a little bit. So it was, it just kind of felt a little bit sloppy in that sense. But yeah, solid match. Am I disappointed that the end result of Cody Rhodes taking this opportunity to take out Drew McIntyre, utilising the belt, and just essentially cheated? Am I disappointed by that result? Yeah, I am a little bit. Because look, I'm seeing when you see my predictions, it had said that I felt that the likelihood was that Cody Rhodes was going to retain here. So I'm not really shocked or anything like that Cody Rhodes had retained. But yeah, obviously this narrative, it does kind of give cause for Drew McIntyre to continue his character arc now, just going, well, I'm Drew McIntyre and I got screwed. And you could feasibly use that. You could continue to use that to drag this feud out to kind of run this match at a bigger PLE where you got more chance of a title change. My hesitancy with that is, and I don't know, I might be on an island with this. I don't know what the general consensus is on this, because this might just be my personal feelings on it. But I'm already a little bit bored of this Drew McIntyre arc of, him just kind of coming out and going, I'm Drew McIntyre and I got screwed. I'm kind of a little bit, I'm a little bit bored of it already. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know how big a build. So if they were to continue with that, to a build towards Survivor Series or Royal Rumble, whatever they plan on running this back, I'm not sure how invested I could be in that build. So yeah, but like I said, from an in-ring perspective, solid match. So yeah, we then moved on to the Jade Cargill Tiffany Stratton match, which, look, I think that all of us this was easily the match that was easiest to predict. I think like a large majority of us had predicted that Jade Cargill was going to win here. It was just kind of time for that change. This match ended up with a shot of one fan looking absolutely shocked at this result. So seemingly there wasn't all of us that had expected this, but I think most of us kind of expected Jade Cargill to win here. But the icing on the cake was that this was essentially just kind of like a bit of a squash match. That Jade Cargill was just absolutely dominant, which totally fits, because you can absolutely see Jade Cargill looks like the type of person who could just be this dominant heel. So, they had obviously given Tiffany Stratton some protection by running this narrative of like she wasn't 100% because of her leg and stuff like this. And, I don't think Tiffany Stratton necessarily needed that protection, to be honest with you, because, she's had a lengthy title reign, so I just don't, I don't think that she necessarily needed that protection. But yeah, like I said, this match was executed in the way that it should have been, in the sense that Jade Cargill just comes down and actually ends up, absolutely being dominant and beating down Tiffany Stratton, and and becoming the new champion and new heel of SmackDown. And now I think that this is something that could just elevate Jade Cargill. I think that it's something that could elevate the title. I think that it's something that could make the fans invested in Jade Cargill. But yeah, again, there is some hesitancy going forward here, because unless you are going to, because your options, I feel like, are, you can always run this back with Tiffany Stratton, and I was saying before that Tiffany Stratton during her reign didn't really have any real blood feud, so you could run that back. I don't know how much of an appetite there is for that. But if you assume that that's not going to happen, if you take Tiffany Stratton out of the equation here and you just run Tiffany Stratton off to do something else, then you kind of go, well, what strong baby faces have you got left out on SmackDown to kind of oppose Jade Cargill? Because yeah, it's really kind of thin on the ground and really struggling. So this is where I kind of feel like, obviously, ultimately, this new title reign of Jade Cargill, I think the end game is absolutely Bianca Belair. So it just kind of all comes down to, I guess, what Bianca Belair's scheduling is. I I don't know. I mean, my ideal would be that we see Bianca Belair return within in this next week, and they kind of like run and have this build towards Survivor Series, and they have a match at Survivor Series or Royal Rumble maybe, because I think obviously if Bianca Belair scheduling allows it, then I think that they kind of need to jump into this feud sooner rather than later, because I feel like because between now and then, I think that it's just going to be a little bit treading water a little bit. How many times have we seen on WWE where we've had a new crime champion and you've gone, right, this is absolutely the right move. This could like absolutely reignite that title. This could absolutely elevate things. And then they just end up getting put on ice, and there's that part of me that kind of feels that this could be the same thing, and it absolutely shouldn't be, because this should absolutely be a launching pad for Jade Cargill, for you to strap a rocket onto her now. But 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 obviously, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here. All we can do is judge, the match that we've had, and the match that we got was just, like I said, executed in exactly the right way, I think. And like I said before, in terms of the positioning it had in the event, it was absolutely the right move, because we opened up with this big match between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre that there was a real appetite for, that there was a real anticipation for, and now we kind of like follow that up with kind of the most predictable match of the event, where it just kind of like gives that nice little breather type thing. So we then moved into the triple threat between Penta, Rusev and Dominic Mysterio, defending the Intercontinental title. Again, I thought the likelihood of this of Dominic retaining here was pretty high. Although the false finish absolutely got me, where there's this spot where Rusev puts Penta in the accolade, and then the bell rings, and I was like, wait a minute, what Rusev is the champion, only to find that obviously it was Dominic Mysterio who had rung the bell, which I just thought was absolutely genius. And it was and there was I got a chuckle out of this match slightly preceding that, where Dominic Mysterio continued the Eddie Guerrero throwbacks, where he throws a chair to Rusev, and the referee is just like, well, what are you talking about? What are you doing? This is like a no DQ. We can absolutely use a chair. So all that kind of like little bit of sprinkling of goofiness we kind of got in that match, I really liked. And it ended in the right way. The only thing I would say that I didn't like was that this was largely focused on Penta versus Rusev, and Dominic Mysterio spent a lot of time on the outside. And like I said, just for my personal taste, I prefer triple threats where there's always constant interchange in between the three. It makes sense in a sense that I feel like the most likelihood coming out of this going forward is that we're gonna have a Rusev and Penta facing off against each other. I'm not really sure what's on the cards for Dominic Mysterio here. I know there's this big appetite with the fans that we now go into an Intercontinental title match between him and John Cena. I think that would be absolutely great as well. I don't want to piss on people's bonfires, but I'm not absolutely really confident that we're going to get that. But I would absolutely love to see it. So we'll just have to kind of see. There's enough with Dominic Mysterio screwing Rusev out of it here again, like with a bell ring, that you could drag this out a bit more, but I just don't think you do need to keep these three wrestlers intertwined anymore in this feud. You know what I mean? I think you are probably better off just running these Penta and Rusev off against each other now, but yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I mean, obviously, I'm hoping that WWE, really listen to the fans, and they give them this dream match that they want between John Cena and Dominic Mysterio at Survivor Series. But yeah, like I said, I'm just I'm skeptical at the minute, but I'm hoping that they do deliver it. So we'll just have to wait and see on that, and then we move onto the main event between Jey Uso and CM Punk, again, on my predictions video, I said that you could make a solid argument for both winning here. But if you were to pull a gun to my head and force me to pick one that I would say is the better call, then I would say that CM Punk is a better call to win here, just because I think that, like I said, this notion of him previously becoming champion but then getting screwed out by Seth Rollins with the Money in the Bank thing, there would be like just a poetic justice to it where he can now just be champion and Seth Rollins can do nothing about it. So I just think that angle trumps the Jey Uso argument of him becoming champion, because he's not the same Jey Uso as we would see in the previous one, because this whole path that Jey Uso is on with his brother Jimmy and this tribal chief thing, I think he can just get a bit more mileage out of that yet. So yeah, that's kind of where I see this match, see this going. I feel like you will just see Jey Uso continuing to go down this road with this love-hate thing with Jimmy. Probably in likelihood this will result in a match between Jimmy and Jey again. We will CM Punk. We will probably end up seeing him now defend the title, probably against Bron Breakker, against the Vision. We are probably going to see that on the one-on-one feud starting next year, because I feel like with the next PLE being Survivor Series, we're probably going to have Team CM Punk versus Team Vision with that, and then we're probably going to use that as a launching pad for this one-on-one feud between Bron Breakker and CM Punk. And yeah, I mean, the other thing that I'd like to talk about though, actually in this match, is the little bit of because the only thing I didn't really like about this match was the little spots they were doing where they were swapping each other's finishing moves. Most notably because it had CM Punk delivering what is probably the worst spear I've ever seen. I feel like this was like, just absolutely the worst spear I have ever seen, and it just, yeah, it didn't work. But yeah, that's the only thing I didn't really like about this. On the whole, I thought this was a solid match, to be fair. Yeah, like I said, executed right, because obviously there was always these speculations about, were we going to get shenanigans, were we going to have Jimmy come out to make a save, were the Vision going to get involved, all of this stuff. Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm glad that it didn't. Do you know what I mean? I'm glad that we got that clean finish, and we got that clean win. So yeah, that's pretty much the only thing else we need to talk about is obviously going into 2 weeks from now. Obviously, it was announced that there was going to be a tournament to determine John Cena's final opponent. This tournament was going to encompass performers from Raw, from SmackDown, from NXT, and even outside of that, which says to me TNA and stuff. So that's going to be really, really exciting. It'll be really exciting to see how they execute that and what kind of form that takes. Yeah, that's going to be really fun to check out. So yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, don't forget to ring a bell for notifications. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because we will be uploading WWE content here. Let me know down in the comment section about what your own thoughts were about this Saturday night's main event as well, and what your premonitions are, or where we might be going from here on out. All that fun stuff. Let me know down in the comment section, and yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe to this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. You guys take care.